Hi everyone. As you know, my name is Saima, and I'm representing Pakistan Kissan Rabita Committee and International Peasant Movement La Via Campesina. First of all, the CSIPM would like to thank the CFS Chair and CFS Secretariat for convening this event on reducing inequalities. The CFS must continue listening to the voices of those most affected by food insecurity and malnutrition. However, it is not enough for member states to simply hear what we have to say. Multilateral and concrete policy action is urgently needed in response to our proposals and demands. The HLPE has made it abundantly clear to the CFS that the status quo is no longer an option. Realizing the right to food requires critical policy shift and radical transformation of food system focused primarily on equity and sustainability. Today, we want to underscore why intersectionality is fundamental to consider when developing policy approaches and finding entry points to reduce and eliminate inequalities. Inequalities within and beyond the food systems have been an integral part of colonial domain and capitalism. The growing corporate concentration, increasing debt, tax evasion, austerity measures, and dependency on food imports are a testimony of this colonial system prone to crisis. With the lingering consequences of the COVID pandemic and the war in Ukraine, there is little no room for countries to cope with increasing food and fuel prices, volatile commodity markets, and financial speculation. The devastating impacts of COVID 19, the destructive consequences the climate change is having on the most vulnerable communities, not only in my country but all around the world, are closely linked to the economic, social, and environmental injustices provoked by neoliberal policies and the food system based of intensive export oriented agriculture production, global supply chains, and market led food provision. During the COVID 19 crisis, communities' responses have fostered values of solidarity, resilience, sustainability, and human dignity. However, in contrast, government policies and financial support have mostly favored corporations, large producers, and global supply chain, ensuring them the capital and workforce they need to keep operations running. This came at the expense of local food system, creating hardships and deepening food insecurities. Intersectionality required us to adopt a particular approach and consider the different ways in which the current food system systematically disadvantages, impoverishes, and marginalized women and general diverse people. Youth, indigenous people, people with disabilities, older workers, migrants, refugees, rationalized people, people who live and work in rural areas, and other such groups. Also, we would like to point out that the many measures and policies already exist to reduce inequalities, which we need to think about that. The GGTTs and DROP and UN drop and UN rate are the examples of inclusive, intersectional, and human rights based policies and tangible demands from the peasant movements and agriculture workers, fisherfolk, and pastoralists. But until recently, they have not been brought together in any intersectional manner, unfortunately, at global policy level. The work stream on inequalities offers us the opportunity to create coherence between all the CFS policy instruments, especially seeking complementarities with the work stream on gender and youth. The UN agencies have also delivered, the other UN agencies also delivered valuable work on reducing inequalities. For example, UN raised flagship report, which has just launched and came up here at the beginning of the November, that pointed out that the current crisis is not the flaw in the system, but a feature of it. So we can't just green the system with ad hoc policies. We need large scale systematic change with paradigm shift. The CSIPM strongly advocate for universal social protection policies to support families and communities who face the increase in prices and which truly address inequalities. Social and solidarity economies can address many of the symptoms and root causes in our failing food systems. We are not only speaking about like a topic or unfeasible measures, there are already existing examples of policy framework that are human right based, equitable, and based on social justice. They just need to be upscaled, support, and overall implementation. Think about Bolsa Familia, introduced in Brazil in 2007, food safety based income, build on linking local agroecological and organic small scale localized food production for school meals, and a strong ministry of solidarity economy as well as ministry for smallholder farmers proved to ensure an intersectional approach to the right to food, including both indigenous producers and consumers. Several CSO groups in Europe and beyond are today calling for measures of food social protection because it makes sense. If peasant and rural workers receive decent pay and earn an acceptable living wage at their hometowns, they can afford to buy healthy food, pay their energy bills, access their workplace, and less forced to leave rural areas and become the part of the urban poor. Next to measures of social and solidarity economies, we need to distribute power, which means putting a halt to harmful policies and practices, which is very important. This is the third food price crisis in the 15 years. So it indicates to show how fragile global food markets are and how prices are largely determined by the unsustainable demand, depends on, and concentration of power in the global supply chain. So I just, dear friends and colleagues, I just want to conclude this all at the last that conclusion is tackling inequalities required making political and ethical decisions now and in the future too. And we strongly hope that the HLPE report by itself and through the subsequent CFS policies convergent process can significantly contribute to overcoming inequalities for food justice and healthy, sustainable food system. Thank you very much.